all parties need to engage in good faith negotiations to reach an agreement. That's what we hoped would happen at today's White House meeting. Unfortunately, the President had other ideas. With his tweet this morning, President Trump made sure that today's meeting is nothing but a photo op. These issues are far too serious for these kinds of games. Mr. President, it's time to stop tweeting and start leading. There are serious questions that must be answered and many things that must be done. Democrats and Republicans on the Hill have come together on government funding before. In April, Speaker Ryan, Leader McConnell, Leader Pelosi, and I worked together to fund the government and avoid a shutdown. The four of us have worked together before, and we Democrats are ready to do it again. So if President Trump doesn't want to get involved in this, if President Trump says he's not interested in cutting a deal, then we suggest that Speaker Ryan, Leader McConnell, Leader Pelosi, and I sit down. We can come up with a good deal on our own. And that's what was done before. That's what can be done again. As I said, there are serious issues in front of us. We don't have time to waste. We don't have games to play. We need to fund the military. We need to protect millions of American pensions, fund scientific research and student loans. We need to rebuild in Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and California, and we need to protect the dreamers. If the President reverses course and decides he wants to be a constructive force, working with both sides to forge a bipartisan deal, we're happy to meet with him anytime, anywhere, any place. But as long as he remains a destructive force, it would be a waste of everyone's time to continue working with someone who clearly has no interest in coming to an agreement. We hope the President, in order to avoid this calamity, will change his mind. The President and our Republican friends run the House and Senate. They have a responsibility not to let the government run out of funds. We're willing to work with them, but they have to do it in a bipartisan way. Senator Durbin.
Thanks, Chuck. The tweet that the President released this morning concerned me in one particular respect. There is only one immigration bill that is pending before this Congress that is being taken seriously. Senator Cornyn, the Republican whip, just addressed it. It's one that we all know very well. It's the President's decision on September the 5th to eliminate DACA protection. 780,000 young people who came forward, paid the filing fee, went through a criminal background check, submitted all their information to our government, are currently protected from deportation and given a right to work. President Trump announced on September 5th that as of March 5th next year, that protection would end. And with the end of that protection, it means disastrous consequences for thousands and thousands of these young people. He called on Congress to act, and as Senator Cornyn said, it's our responsibility to act. How did the President describe this challenge this morning in his tweet? He said the Democrats were coming in favor of illegal immigrants flooding into our country unchecked. Illegal immigrants flooding into our country unchecked. The DREAM Act requires that if you're eligible, you have to have been in the United States for 4 years. We're not talking about people flooding into the United States. We're talking about those who've lived their lives in the United States being given a chance to earn their way to legal status and citizenship. That's what the challenge is before us. We need a president who will work with us to solve the problem which he created on September 5th when he abolished DACA. We need a president who has said so many times that he's respectful of the talents these young people bring to America. We need a president who doesn't use this divisive rhetoric. We can sit down and do this on a bipartisan basis. I'm convinced of it. Senator Graham is co-sponsoring the DREAM Act with me. There are 3 other Republican sponsors. It can be done. But we have to stop the divisive rhetoric, stop the tweeting, and instead sit down and meet our responsibility before the end of this year. It can be done, not with these tweets.
We'll take questions. Yes.
Leader Schumer, you're never going to stop the president from tweeting. So does this mean that going forward you're not planning to sit down with him?
All he has to do is say he's serious and wants to undergo a real negotiation, and we'll sit down with him. But there's an alternative. When the president stays out of it, we seem to do much better, the four leaders. And we're happy to sit down with them. That's how we did it when the last time the government funding expired in 2017. The president doesn't indicate he's serious. We're not going to sit down just for a photo op. This is serious stuff.
Leader Schumer, do you think, though, that Democrats might overplay their hand on this, and this could actually steal the resolve of Republicans to say, wait a minute, we have a chance to do what we want and leave you out of the equation?
Well, if they could have passed this without our votes, they probably would have done it a long time ago. They sat down in a bipartisan way because in this case, they need 60 votes.
Leader Schumer.
So on this issue, unlike the tax issue, bipartisanship is required. It's not only the right thing to do, but it's required. That means serious, mature negotiations. The president has, by his tweet this morning, has shown he's not yet ready. We hope he changes his mind.
Senator, you have had deals with the president before.
Yes.
And he said, oh, I talked to Chuck and Nancy, and we got it all worked out. Why do you not trust him now, and how much of this is about the politics in your own party?
No politics in our own party. We had full agreement to go forward and get this done. This is about the president not being serious. This is about the president. We would like to sit down right away. We'll be happy to sit down with the Republican leadership, as we did 6 months ago, and we got this done without the president being involved.
Matt, you've been asked before to check in on it. When it comes to DACA, is that something that has to be part of?
We believe DACA, look, there's a whole bunch of issues that are important to us. The defense spending, making sure there's parity, the Children's Health Initiative, the disaster money, as well, of course, as Dreamers. There are a whole bunch of issues out there that are very important to us, and we believe there are some things they want, there are some things we want. If you're serious, we can negotiate a very good, timely deal, and we can do it now. We don't have to delay. The staffs were making great progress until the president stepped in. We were very close on a number of issues.
Schumer, would Democrats support the Alexander Murray deal now that it's being seen as a way to mitigate the impact of repealing the
Look, you can't sabotage the entire system and then say you're going to do a small little fix on top of that sabotage, because that Murray Alexander was never designed to be in a situation where there was a direct bomb thrown into the ACA. It was made to improve the ACA. So Murray Alexander's great, but first our Republican colleagues should abandon the idea of sabotaging ACA as they did with the individual mandate. It just doesn't make sense to do both together.
Leader Schumer, on the CR, I'm just wondering, what's the timetable for getting a CR? It seems like there's going to need to
Well,
be
government runs out of money on December 8th. The president, our Republican colleagues, we're waiting for them to come to us, and we will work with them to get it done. But they've got to be serious, they've got to be real, and they've got to understand there are two sides to a negotiation. The president doesn't seem to understand that.
Are you confident we can avoid a shutdown on the 8th?
I'm very hopeful we can avoid a shutdown. Our Republican colleagues have shown in the past that they know, with them in charge, a shutdown falls on their back. They're running the show. The American people know they're running the show. We're not going to obstruct for its own sake, but we need to make a bipartisan agreement. There are some things they want, some things we want. We're willing to compromise. The president seems to say, do it all my way or no way. That's not going to work. Thank you, everybody.
Daca. Hey.